Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Supersize We, comedians in cars, spilling condiments. I'm one of your hosts. I am Ryan Danley from beautiful Portland, Oregon. With me, as always, the very charming and handsome Kyle Adams. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Yes, from disgusting Florida.
Yes, you are.
I'm doing good, man. I'm having a good day. I started off my morning with a long walk, and I wrote a couple new bits, and I'm going to do the podcast, and then I'm parked outside of Eastside Grill right now, so I'm going to get a late set in after this. So it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, dope. We have our first guest and the specialist of guests. One of my favorite people, the very funny and very awesome Ben Harkins.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I like, as soon as I heard about it, I was like, I really want to do this because I love I'm a big fan of like the culture of corporate fast food, and whenever they come up with some sort of a gimmick, I always want to try it and just hear what everybody has to say about it.
It's like a trip to the zoo. You know what I mean? Like it's like you go there and you see it and you're like, I want to, you know what I mean? It's like it's fascinating what they do. I actually think that I should have, in like a different life, just been a fast food scientist. You know, like just like sit around and create these things. I mean, what a job!
What a job, especially with like this thing that we're like looking at like today. I have a lot of opinions about what's happening.
Yeah, I wanted you to do a pizza one because of your Little Caesars joke is so fucking good. I figured that it would be fun to get you doing like reviewing another pizza.
Yeah, it's good to branch out from Little Caesars to the radically different Pizza Hut. Completely different zoo over there.
I feel like, like Little Caesars gets like they've really ended up like, I think, finding like a niche within a niche. Like I actually give them some credit because at first they were just like, back in the day, they used to just be like the pizza deal, and you got two pizzas, and they just kind of competed with like lower end cheap pizza. But I think at this point they've just been like, you just show up and you get a pizza. There's no there's no more.
Yeah, they don't play the game anymore. It's
exactly.
Yeah,
we had a sit down one in Zephyr Hills when I was a kid. That was like one of the only pizza places we had for a while, and they were trying all kinds of weird fancy shit. And I think it was because they were like a franchise. But I remember like they just fucking pulled those tables out of there like mid-90s, like totally downsized.
Yeah, at some point they sort of realized that they didn't have to play the same game that everybody else was doing. I mean, just the fast food industry has evolved so much within our lifetime because we've gone from like Wendy's having like a free salad bar and like carpeted floors, and everybody through our lives, just every aspect of corporate culture has just sort of lowered the bar for everything. Where
absolutely,
like fast food used to be competing with family restaurants, but just competing with on a speed level. And now they realize they don't have to do that, and they'll eat whatever horse shit they put in front of us. So.
and at this point, it's more of it's more of like wrangling something crazy. You know what I mean? Like I have to like be like last week we ate the meat mountain. You know what I mean? Like it's at this point they're like, how can we do it? And family restaurants have like, I feel like when I eat at Denny's now, it's like I'm eating at a fast food place, and I don't really think like
Denny's lowered the bar.
Yeah, I think everybody's just sort of shifted that way. You know, like you could go to Denny's or IHOP now and just basically get like a I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get that, man. I like vaguely, I might be remembering this wrong, but I vaguely remember like IHOP being way better when I was a kid. I don't know if it's just I've had better food now, but I used to think IHOP was this great place to go, and now I'm like, this shit is fucking gross. Like, not a fan.
It's the decline of the American empire. Like it's just sort of reflected in our food. Like I think food is a reflection of a culture, and our food is getting more wood chippy, more sawdusty, more cutting corners. Not really trying to impress so much. They just want to make the fewest amount of components work, for like a broad menu.
Right.
You know, like not even a broad menu. They just like even Taco Bell like narrowed their menu this year just because they're like, look, we don't want to get these ingredients to every Taco Bell anymore. Everything we can cut out, let's just rearrange it and then call it a new thing, which is what I think I'm looking
That's my
at here.
favorite fucking thing. That's my favorite fucking thing that Taco Bell's really bad about this, but that fast food restaurants do. They add maybe one item or they just completely reorganize shit and they spend millions on marketing. They're like, hey, come into Taco Bell now and get this thing you could have always gotten. Like if you were just a little more creative.
Well, I mean, it's like the quesarito. Like, I'm not surprised that they had a burrito made out of quesadilla. I'm surprised it took them that long to get to it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that seems like a really like, you know. Are you just going for it? You just going for the pizza? You just.
Yeah. I mean, we see what you're doing there.
I needed a bite. I needed a bite because it's gonna get cold. I needed to try it.
All right.
Well, maybe,
All right, I'm trying to find on the on the Pizza Hut the description of it, but it's essentially it's a Detroit style. So this week we're doing Pizza Hut. Talk about a company that shifted away, because I mean, like as a kid, like going to Pizza Hut was like after like a soccer game was like a thing. Like they had the big salad bar. And,
yeah, Frank Lloyd Wright like fucking designed what the Pizza Hut like looks like. They had like they built buildings that were like it has to look like a Pizza Hut, and now tons of restaurants are just in old Pizza Huts because they don't want to do Pizza Huts in the buildings that were designed to be Pizza Huts anymore. So I always drive by this old Pizza Hut, and now like Pizza Hut is just next to 7-Eleven in a mini mall, just like everything else.
Right. I went out to, I think the last sit down one I ever went into was the one that was on like 82nd and like
that's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm over by that one right now. I remember driving past that one.
Yeah, and I went in there like towards the end, and it was just actually like more depressing because like it was like, oh, I'll go in there and like you know, kind of like, oh, it's like the last one. I'll go and like relive this like memory, but it wasn't like that at all. Like it was just like a fast food place. Like it didn't have that that Pizza Hut with like the red plastic Coca-Cola glasses.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Miss Pac-Man machine and like the.
Do you remember they had a clock?
It's a graveyard more than an experience.
They used to have a clock at every Pizza Hut that it just went. It had like crazy hands and it didn't really tell time, and it said it's always time for pizza on it. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I love that.
Yeah, fucking great.
You go in there, it's like, hey, look at that. That's always. You're right. We don't have to be in a hurry. We can hang out at Pizza Hut.
And you know, and I don't know if it's like our age or whatever, but things like that used to be like that sort of whimsy was always like, oh wow, like the company's being like kind of silly, and like now you go into like a Jimmy John's and they have jokes like that everywhere. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
I hate their advertising. The freak, yeah, like they're cursing like a 13-year-old Mormon kid. Like what the fuck?
Jimmy John's. I haven't been in a large Jimmy John's. I've always seen just the small little one that we have in Portland, and I've never been committed to that brand. There's something about it. It always felt condescending. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's mostly lettuce. I think it's mostly fucking lettuce. I hate it.
Yeah, it's a lot of lettuce. I think we just hit the line with like Jersey Mike's, Jimmy John's. Like I just think we've just kind of like. I mean, like honestly, they're better than Subway. I don't know who's still eating at Subway. I don't know. Like maybe I'm wrong, but like
after you know who went to jail, things really went south.
Yeah, he who shall not be named.
Yeah, just the bread got shittier. The employees seem to not care as much, which was weird. Like it was as soon as you know who was like dropped out. Like just it seemed like they didn't really care how many olives I wanted. On the
They're like, fuck this guy. I'm no longer a sandwich
they'll put green
artist.
tomatoes on your sandwich there. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, nobody's claiming sandwich artist anymore. There was a time like I would go into Subway and I would be like, that's my favorite Subway person.
Yeah.
This guy's got spunk. He always gives me a little bit. He doesn't. Oh, he uses like the little measuring thing, but he doesn't. He's not like playing by the rules all the time. You know.
He's not playing by the Subway rules.
He's running loose. He's running loose with the banana peppers. You know, he's like, yeah, man, I got you. Good.
Walk me through that garden, baby.
You know, man, I got the tube of mayo. Yeah. But yeah, this week is Detroit style pizza. Here's the best thing I can find about just a more general Detroit style pizza. This is something that's actually new to me, Detroit style pizza. I'm sure every town has like I lived in Denver and I had a Denver style pizza and it was just crap. You know what I mean? But this Detroit style pizza is a rectangular pizza with a thick crust that is crispy and chewy. It is traditionally topped with tomato sauce and Wisconsin brick cheese that goes all the way to the edges. So, all right, let's do the unveiling.
Yeah, so I
apologize for premature. I wanted to taste the hot bite is the thing.
Let's see.
So it does this is cool.
Yeah, I mean it's like I don't know, like it looks pretty good. Like it's the cheese goes to the edge like I just read, and then it's like layered in with sauce. And I think we all got the meat. What is it? The meat extreme.
We got the meaty deluxe. Yeah.
Meaty deluxe.
Yeah, meaty extremes.
Meat
yeah,
I used to
meat to the meat by the gallons. Meat to the hilt.
I grew up in the 90s, you know, so like extreme is everything that's good is extreme, you know. I'd love to meet the person who in an advertising meeting was like, you know what? Let's just drop the E off the beginning of extreme. You know what I mean? We're just gonna make it X.
Capital X.
Capital Extreme. Like there had to be like a slow golf clap to like thunderous applause. They're like, man, that's brilliant.
Yeah, because it was like Gen X, you know. It's like, hey, fuck yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
I love soda that's red. All right, here we go. Let's give it a shot.
Here, let's give it a shot.
All right. You guys like, yeah, it's pretty heavy, kind of doughy. Mm. It kind of feels like a big breadstick.
It reminds me of Crazy Bread, like if you just dumped marinara on top of Crazy Bread.
Yeah, like it's sort of it's shaped like a corporate deep dish, but it could have come from the same thing. It's kind of like it is like Crazy Bread, where you kind of taste where the cheese meets the crust.
Right.
And like, you know, that is a bit of a different flavor when the cheese is like right on the dough. But yeah, it doesn't feel like I mean, I like it. I don't mind the sauce being on top. It doesn't feel like much of an idea.
No,
yeah, I'm eating it.
Right. And like it is a lot like the deep dish in that it's like greasy. It's a little less greasy, I would say, than a deep dish, but like just like mostly dough. And sometimes the deep dish, like I mean, maybe it's the East Coast in me, but like deep dish pizza will kind of kick my ass sometimes. You know what I mean? Like a couple.
Yeah, I'll put you in bed.
Yeah, it's like I feel like taking it. Yeah, it's just like
it's so much bread. It's so much dough. It's just kind of I mean, I like that kind of stuff. I love bread. When I'm eating pizza, I'm just kind of like whatever. I'll like whatever it is. I don't mind this pizza too much. The sauce on top, it's basically you just kind of lick it off I gotta lick it out of my mustache more. There's that.
I was just gonna say that it's a hazard for people with beards and mustaches. It's just messier, I feel like.
I feel like the choice to put sauce on top, because deep dish does this too, is always odd. You know, like I mean, I think like one of the best things about pizza, and it seems like it's doing this. I feel like they must put hot sauce on it afterwards because the cheese looks cooked. But I just always think that like, you know, like a little bit of like heat on the cheese like gets a little bit of like that bubble going with the cheese, and like if you put sauce on it, it just makes it. But I feel like they've thought of that. The brilliant minds, the pizza minds out there, and they
Pizza Hut scientists.
Yeah, like in Pizza Hut corporate studios or whatever, they were just like, guys, we don't know how to invent a new fucking pizza. Because I've never heard of a Detroit style pizza before this, and from what I'm like, I don't think, is this actually like a Detroit style pizza? Is this like a known thing in Detroit, or is this like a specific pizza place in Detroit that does this?
I didn't know Detroit was known for pizza.
Yeah, like it's a, everybody loves Detroit. It's the pride of the Rust Belt. Fucking good sports teams. Motor City. We all love Detroit. I have never heard of Detroit style pizza. I don't think they were like known for their food.
The guy from Little Caesars is from Detroit, oddly enough. And I know this because the Little Caesars guy, when he died, it turned out that he had been paying Rosa Parks rent.
I heard about that
for years. Like, he's actually like a stand-up dude. Like, and so like that gives me like a pass on eating at Little Caesars. You know what I mean? I'll be like, oh, I want to go grab some, because I mean, let's get real. You still fuck with some crazy bread. Crazy bread's good. Like garlic butter, I'm like is the best thing they got going. And then like, so like, just I'll be like, oh, well, the dude didn't want Rosa Parks living in a bad part of town, so he just moved her uptown.
I have heard that story absolutely every single time that someone else hears it, because people like that joke that I was telling. So I've like had this happen where people just post on my wall about like the CEO of Little Caesars paying Rosa Parks' rent. I've heard that story a million times, and you know what? I'm still a fan.
Yeah,
that's like a cool thing for a dude to do in secret,
Yeah, exactly. Not even like slap it up there as his like, you're just gonna do the right thing. That's like next level shit. Yeah. So
where are you at, Pizza Hut CEO? What the fuck are you doing?
Exactly.
Well, at least he's not yelling the N-word like Papa John. There's like the spectrum of Pizza Hut. You're either like an ally or you're a racist, and then like Pizza Hut's somewhere in the middle.
Dude, did you hear this thing? I saw this thing where like Papa John like quoted, like said something like, I have been trying for 20 months consecutively to stop saying the N-word. Like, it's a thing that he's like, like it's something that he's working on. Like, it's his I haven't had a drink in 20 months. It's just like, it's not the same thing.
He's counting his days like I'm counting my sobriety.
Yeah, it's like
he just got a calendar with X's, 20 months of X's. No.
He's just like seething, having a hard time reaching out for support. Guys, I'm having a really hard time.
This is why CEOs, like, let's get real, there really will never be a good CEO. Like, there just aren't cool CEOs. They shouldn't be famous. You know what I mean? This is what happens when they get famous, because you're just like when you're a CEO, you're like really like somebody who's like really entrenched in like the capitalist like status quo thing. I mean, that's just how you get to be that person, I mean, and even the fake nice ones are all really at the core of that person. So like,
yeah, there's so many layers between like the CEO, the person, and what we see as like consumers, and
right. And so like, if you're going to be like a famous CEO, like, you're going to make a mistake. I mean, it's just like, you just don't have like that. You don't have that. I don't even know. You just don't. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you're just not really like a good person. I don't know. Like, I just think that's,
to aspire for that level of power.
Yep.
Yeah. You're making decisions that affect people's lives, and even if you try your best, like, you're gonna fuck up and fuck those people's lives up.
Yeah, you're just not right. You're just not like, you're just somebody who's gonna, at the end of the day, like, see people as workers, and and like all that kind of stuff. You're not gonna really be like the kind of person who's like enlightened about like how to talk. I mean,
that era is long gone in like the leader businessman. It's become a lot of mechanical data and very cold corporate culture, which brings us such beautiful things as the the Pizza Hut Detroit style pizza, and I have to say, like, this is a lot like a big breadstick. It's like a breadstick with toppings, which isn't a bad idea. You know, breadsticks with toppings. Like it's really not like, I'm not like, whoa, that's a fucked. You don't put toppings on breadsticks. I guess that is an idea, considering that, you know, like they were probably just like, dude, we don't want to get a new topping. We don't want to create like a new supply chain. We just need these people to put these components together in a way so we can say that it's new. And they're just like, I don't know, what about the sauce? They just put it together in a different order and with the sauce on top. Yeah.
It seems like they fucked up and they're like, fuck, we needed sauce. And then it burned and like ladled it out on top. We're like, oh shit, what did we forget? Sauce again? God damn
Now,
it.
is it me, or does it seem like the sauce isn't real? It might be put on after the toppings and cheese are cooked. Yeah. It seems like it's just kind of ladled on, like it's not supposed to be like baked with the rest of the pizza.
Yeah, because I think it's just,
it was like cold tomato sauce.
Or like they passed it through the oven one time afterwards, because the cheese is cooked bubbly underneath it. I think we have to talk about the meat a little bit though. So part of me like is excited that there's not tons of meat on this, because I personally don't need that, but I also know, like, as like an American, like I would think that when I order the meat extreme, or what is it?
Meat supreme.
Meat supreme.
Yeah.
That it's gonna be like pretty meaty, right? Like,
yeah, you think it would be. You think you're gonna get like bombarded with, you know, all kinds of pepperonis and sausages and. I'm
not really feeling that. I'm feeling this is it's like scattered on there.
I'm having the same experience where it seems like there's just kind of sausage and pepperoni, and that's not like, I don't have a problem with that. Like, sausage and pepperoni is good. Seems like kind of bullshit to call it the meat supreme.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh, you want like sausage and pepperoni on that?
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's well, you know, a lot of empty promises in America going on today. You know,
supreme is like, there's literally nothing supreme about them. You know what I mean? There's no like supreme, like the word supreme gives you the idea that there's like a normal, you know what I mean? And then this is like the supreme, like,
yeah, this is like, yeah. So what is like the meat regular?
Right. Right. Like, there just wouldn't be enough. There just wouldn't be enough food on this to make it like
to be a regular. Yeah, like this is a regular. They're calling it a supreme, which feels like a bit of a, maybe not like a lie, but definitely like an unmet promise.
Yeah, this meat has no supremacy. It's kind of like the meat lovers pizza is kind of like Pangea, and this is like after it's separated, because it's like it does. The sauce and pepperoni are just in random places where if you order their straight meat lovers pizza, it's like you bite into it and it's like you don't even taste the cheese. It's just a big hunk of fucking meat.
And I don't even like that. I actually kind of prefer like lighter meat than that. Like, if you go to like Papa Murphy's, which I try not to do anymore. Like, there's something about Papa Murphy's that makes me not feel good. But if you order a pepperoni pizza at Papa Murphy's, you will get nary a bite.
Yeah.
Without a pepperoni in it. You know, like they like literally like, and like, I'm not like one to say give me less food, right? But like, it's an excessive amount of pepperoni at a Papa Murphy's pizza. Like, it's like,
you gotta like cook it at home, so they want to really deliver on the toppings,
right?
Angle, you know, like I think that
they have to legitimize themselves because they don't do half of the work.
Yeah, they're compensating. They're compensating for the fact that it's you know, you got to take it home and do a little bit of work.
That's what I was going to ask Ryan, if he doesn't feel good afterwards, is because of the effort he has to put into it. like fuck, I got a job now. I got homework. I literally don't get Papa Murphy's because of that. I get mad at them. I'm like, dude, I could have just got a frozen pizza or made a pizza myself. Like,
You know what the worst is when you're sitting on the couch after you've eaten and you realize the oven's still on. You know, like take that long shame walk to the, you know, there's just no other reason for, like, I can hear it click and I can like kind of like turn it, like, you know, you hear that oven click, you know, and you walk over there and it's just like, oh yeah, I just forgot. Like,
Yeah, it makes you want to just leave it on.
just, you know, maybe I should just leave it on. Like,
Stick your head in there.
it's just always ready.
Fuck it. Fuck it. Leave it on.
I left mine on one of those snow days. Like I had a situation like that. I made like a frozen pizza or something. I just fucking left it on because it was cold as fuck in my apartment or in my house anyway. So
has a house ever burned down from an oven being? It feels like if there's something that left on, like the oven's like the best thing to leave on, right?
probably,
Yeah.
I know people that just open them and leave it on for a while.
I mean, there has to have been. There's no way it's just cool to leave the oven on.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't that what people say? That's an excuse to go back home.
Yeah, like I can't remember a time where somebody was like, I left the oven on and it ruined my fucking life. I've never heard that.
No,
but there's no way that it's okay to just like leave the oven on. Like that's
as a kid, I watched a 2020 episode. This was before like it was maybe like a little keen to like how much like fear advertising that they had, and they had like coffee makers and toasters and like just small appliances. They had like a whole story on the fact that they occasionally just burst into flames, and they showed like all these people who died from
it's like a list of names just
like, and they showed like guys like, you know, he was like asleep and the toaster oven just caught fire and he died and so like unfortunately that as a young Ryan, it like burnt my synapses relay. So there's like still like this, I mean, this is like 30 years ago that I watched this more. And I still think about it. I still like think about like, oh,
you don't leave the chop wizard plugged in, god damn it. You unplug the chop wizard when it's not being used.
I'm gonna kill my family simply because I couldn't unplug the.
You're gonna end up like the Parkers on television from 15 years ago. Barely remember the Parkers or whatever their names were. They died when they left their chop wizard plugged in.
They went out skiing. The guy was sleeping. That's what happened. They went skiing. The family was sleeping. The guy stayed home and slept. Burned to death. The chop wizard. Yeah, I don't get this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Turn your ovens off, everyone.
Turn your ovens off. Unplug your. Now
anything.
Gonna die because of this, and it's gonna be ironic.
Yeah.
Oh no. We tried to warn them.
We tried to, you know. I've done nothing but spread the word.
Are you with oven awareness?
So what's the verdict? What do you guys think of this flavor on this? Because like I do think that it is a little bit different with the sauce kind of like ladled on. There's a bit of it's a lot more like a breadstick. Yeah. It's pretty much just like a breadstick with toppings is what I'm kind of.
Yeah. That was kind of my expectation, and it's not quite as silly as I hoped it was gonna be, to be honest. Like it just kind of was but yeah, it's just crazy bread with sauce on top. And they actually like, it's kind of ridiculous that they charge more for this than they do for like a regular like extra large stuffed crust pizza. But I mean I'm
really?
sure yeah, I paid like $14 for mine, and I was like, stuffed crust is like 11 or 12 right now.
Well, this is like not going to be around for a while, so they just want to trick you. They just want to trick you while it's like, hey, limited time only, the fucking Detroit style pizza, and it's like, okay, so you'll try it and you'll pay the extra because you're curious, and then but they know that this isn't that big of a deal.
There's literally nobody who's probably going to buy this twice. Or you know what I mean? Or like really like, I mean, maybe you'd buy it twice, but like there's probably very few people who are like, I'm about this. I want it. You know what I mean?
That
Like,
sounds insane to me that
Yeah.
somebody would buy this twice. That sounds
Yeah,
completely
no.
insane to me that somebody would be like, no, this Detroit style pizza, man, it's better this way. You have to. I swear to God, man, I lick my fucking nose all the time.
I
It's
feel like
awesome.
I feel like people who would enjoy this might just have like a weird eating thing where they eat like peanut butter and jelly with the peanut butter on top of the bread, or they do some kind of weird fucking
Some kink.
yeah. It's just
Some
kinky.
kink.
This is kinky pizza.
this is kinky.
I would
Kinky.
not call this even kinky. It just seems like I don't know. You want to try this? Like that. Like that's sort of what they're offering here. It doesn't taste like anything. It doesn't taste extreme. There's not really too
Mhm.
much going on here. It tastes kind of like pizza, kind of like more like breadsticks.
Mhm.
It's so it's a little bit of both, but not more of either. Really, I don't
Right.
know. It's just just-
It is built in some kind of realm between the two.
yeah. If these are like the goalposts or whatever, it's just they kind of moved it a little bit.
Right. In respect to it, I will say that it is less gross than I thought it was going to be. Like
I
thought
agree
it,
with that.
I thought it was going to be way more greasy. I thought it was going to be like the deep dish, which is like a grease sponge, and it's not like that at all. Actually, it's way more. Even like breadsticks can be that way, you know. And this isn't like that at all. It's definitely more like it actually what didn't seem greasy at all. Well, you know, I mean,
It's a little bit greasy, but I see what you're saying, where it's not quite as greasy as like, breadsticks and a deep dish pizza from a fast food place.
Exactly.
It is a little bit more seems a little controlled.
yeah.
I think it's because it has 6 inches of bread to soak through. It's got like 6 inches of bread thick. Like,
It's like the Princess of the Pea. It's like
yeah.
No,
Oh man.
we'll hear from them. They'll be like, "Hey, just so you know, the grease is there. Okay, it's just everywhere." Like,
don't
It's
tell
like, oh, you're
people it's not
ingesting it
greasy.
still.
don't tell people it's not greasy. The whole fucking thing is greasy. It's just
We-
spread.
nobody will nobody will buy it if we don't offer that grease. People want money off of it.
Yeah.
The best metaphor I could come up with is it reminds me of like, so it's like if someone was going to give you a blow job, but they just gave you a wet hand job instead it was a blow job. Like that's like essentially like that's what this pizza is to me. It's not really pizza. It's a
Wet hand job of pizzas. I wasn't really thinking about it like that, but I can see what you're saying. This doesn't feel like a wet hand job to me. I don't know.
I see what you're saying. Like it's like just feels like it's just not all the way.
It's out of order. It's out of sequence.
Right,
It feels like a turned up appetizer,
right. No, at the end of it, you're like, I've eaten. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna, All right, so
I
we
would
have
almost rather
we have a
have the
little
sauce on the side.
1 to 5 scale.
Mhm.
On 1 to 5, with 5 being the best, how do we feel like the presentation was?
Presentation. I don't think the presentation's very good.
I don't either.
I'd say a 1 or a 2 on the presentation because that's probably the worst part of it.
I'll give it a 2. I mean, it just looks like a bunch of sauce on top of a bunch of breadsticks with some toppings. It's not like, wow, that I really want to fucking eat that. I'll eat it.
And this is like where I'm going with like the meat and stuff on it. Like if I had opened it up and if there was even like just like tons of meat or something like that, even like that, even though that I don't even really want that much of their crappy meat, like I don't like, it would still be like way more like appealing. Like, or like there'd be like
it would look better.
Yeah.
It would look more like an effort.
So that's around a 2.
Yeah, I might give it a 1 because honestly, it doesn't look like they put any effort into the presentation whatsoever. Like it is seriously, it does like you open it up and it does look like a mess. Like it just pretty much looks like a mess. I'm gonna give it a 1 for presentation.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Flavors. How about flavor?
I would say a strong 3 or a weak, somewhere between 3.5 and 4, because I actually really like the crust. The crust is very buttery. it's a lot of crust, but it's kind of a good ratio, like we were saying with the cheese meat bite. It just the sauce. That's the hard part, is the sauce not being cooked kind of brings it down. I feel like.
If I take away all the expectations from of it being like a pizza, or if it being a or a breadstick, or like where it lives in if I take all of that out of the equation and I just like taste it, I don't think it tastes bad. You know what I mean? I wasn't like offended by the flavor. Like last week we did the meat mountain and the cheese was cold on it, and like I get to the point where it was just kind of gross. You know?
Yeah, I can finish that thing.
I didn't really think this was gross. You know what I mean? I just thought it was just kind of like, it was more meh than anything, but I don't think like it tasted bad, you know? Like, so I'm gonna give it a 3 on flavor.
3, yeah. I can say 3.
I feel like we're all kind of on the same page here, where this, like, for me, the flavor, it really is just between, it really is like it's breadsticks with toppings. That's good. I don't really agree with making a meal out of it. I don't think that's like it's something that you'll try once. I think if somebody was like, no, this is like, we should have that for dinner again, that person is a psychopath. So I'm gonna give it like the flavor is not bad. I do kind of like the ladled on marinara after it's baked. I think that's an attempt at something different. You know, probably like the weakest attempt at something different that is possible. Like it's very, I feel like there's no effort here. It's just sort of a curiosity, an experiment that isn't disappointing or interesting. But it is an experiment. So, I'm going to give it a 2.5 for flavor.
Okay, 2.5.
Yeah.
All right, mouthfeel.
I love the crunch on it. I gotta say the mouthfeel is probably a 4 for me. But then again, like we were saying, it's a mess in your mustache, and that's a little like, you almost have to be strategic in where you bite it, because if you disrupt the structural integrity of the crust, you're gonna have a fucking pile of sauce on your lap. Like.
See, I don't agree with you there. I think it holds its structure pretty good. I think that it adds a little bit of zest to it, that you got to pay attention to what you're doing with that sauce on top. You know, I really think that the mouthfeel is where this thing delivers in the ways that it fails utterly in every other way. Like, a little bit of zest. You got to tiptoe around this shit. Like, yeah.
That's the most exciting thing that's happening here. It really is. It's really like having to keep it out of your facial hair is probably the most exciting part.
It's like playing the floor is lava. You know, the floor is lava. It's low stakes. It's not a big deal, but you're still paying attention. You know.
Right, so where are you at? You're at 4, 4.5, 5?
I'm gonna give it a 4 for mouthfeel.
I'm gonna hit up 4 too. I just feel like it being, I mean, like, yet again, like there's expectation, there's reality, and like being that it's not as gross as I thought it was going to be. Like I thought it was going to be really gross. Like when I looked at the picture, I was like, that's going to be like I just know that feeling of eating like way too much cheap pizza, you know, like I just like, but like but it's under delivery, like just made it like it's like working on a Jeep, you know what I mean? Like compared to like a Honda. Like a Honda has like it's over engineered. Everything's got like 6 pieces that lead to the one piece. But like an old school like straight 6 Jeep, you can just get in right next to it. It's just real simple to work on. Yeah, it's not fancy, but at the end of the day, like it's just super easy. So I'm gonna give it a 4 too. Like I think that's like.
Yeah. It's definitely the strength. I would agree with Ben saying this is the one strength that it has is the mouthfeel is good.
2 more. We have risk factor. Like so, the risk factor is basically like last week. The risk factor last week was like bad because like if you ate the whole mountain, you would throw. You know what I mean? There's just like you just can't. Kyle and I are big eaters, and we got like halfway through that, and we were like, good. You know, like
Yeah.
this is
Mhm.
Tap out.
yeah. So risk factor on this, I think, is pretty high. I think or pretty low. You know what I mean? Like it's a low risk.
Yeah, I think so. How does it work? Is five is critical
5 is
danger?
danger, and 1
Mhm.
is
Yeah, I don't feel threatened by this. There's something like it doesn't feel like enough of a mistake for me to be like, oh, I'll never do that again. Like
right.
with like the double down or something. It's not like a legendary novelty that like they actually did something that was fucked up. They really just put the sauce on after, and that to me does not feel like a high risk.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 1 myself on this.
Yeah, it's no more risky than any other pizza you'd get from Pizza Hut, I'd say.
It's the exact same amount of risk. The like with a slight
It actually might be
like bump
less.
for maybe
might be- yeah, it
getting
might be
sauce
low.
on your shirt, but who
Uh-huh.
cares? Like I don't consider that to be a. Yeah, I think it's ones all around, boys. you
Yep.
know?
All right, and then the final one is overall grubbing. 5 being grubbing as hell, 1 being not grubbing at all.
Okay. See, my feelings on this are that it's pretty much a nothing experiment at all. It's not good. It's not bad. I'm not exactly disappointed, and I feel nothing. So I'm gonna just say I'm gonna give it a right down the middle, a 2.5
All right.
for
Yeah.
overall grubbing. Like, yes, it is food. It's not exciting. It doesn't taste bad. It doesn't really taste. It's the epitome of like a corporate gag.
It's a nihilistic pizza. It's just
Yeah.
nothing matters. Sauce on top matters.
Who gives a fuck? I don't know. Put the fucking sauce on top. Nobody gives a shit. Like they all just walked out of work that day and was like, did he say that we should put the sauce on top?
It was invented by someone who quit their job that day. And it's like, fuck, I guess we have to.
It's like, well, that's an idea. Nobody else came up with anything.
I'm gonna go 2 myself because like I just like it's just not like I wouldn't call like it's fine, but it's like not like I'm not like it just goes back to all the shit. Like it's just like there's like not a ton of meat. There's really just like nothing here. It's grubbing as a breadstick. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
you know what? Like when I'm eating a piece of pizza, I like to have a breadstick on the side just to you know, cleanse the palate occasionally. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah, this is like ordering 2 orders of breadsticks just for yourself.
exactly. And like there goes from like grubbing to like boring. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, it's like I don't know. I don't. It's like I wouldn't really say it's very
It's too
good.
much bread. Too much bread.
Yeah, I would say 2 myself. I'm most likely just gonna give this to any of the rest of it to the comics that are here
Yeah,
because I don't want to finish this thing.
right. Like no, and that's actually my biggest risk factor in this whole thing is that like I spent $14 on it, and
That's a risk factor.
That's a good point.
and I don't really want it. like,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I still have about like 1,000 calories worth of it just sitting here next to my computer, and I'm just like, like I don't really. I guess I could just kind of work my way through this over time.
I'll probably feel a little different, like maybe like in an hour or so, and maybe like have like another piece. Like I have an air fryer, so I think it'll probably be good like throwing it in the air fryer.
Ooh, that sounds pretty good.
And I think like I think the one mistake I feel like if we had gotten, I think if it had vegetables, it might have been better. It would have like added some sort of like
That's
a
a good
layer
point.
that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you've got
'cause
like
this feels
mushrooms
like-
and onions.
Yeah, I was
it's
thinking
so, it's so,
like
so
bell
much
peppers.
so much marinara and so much it feels like more just like a really meaty marinara sauce on breadsticks. If
Right.
it had if it was like a veggie thing, that would just be like breadsticks with veggies, and that's not a bad. And you know, like if this wasn't like a Pizza Hut pizza, the idea would, I'm sure that the Detroit style pizza in like a Detroit restaurant probably kind of interesting.
Sure.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, and I think that's This is like the gentrification or the cultural appropriation of Detroit pizza. You know what I mean? And
Corporate bastardization, the homogenized, whitewashed dog shit, like fucking Detroit pizza.
what's sad is like Detroit could probably use the support. You know what I mean? So like, I mean,
Yeah, they
I love
do.
Detroit. Detroit is rising again. Everybody's stoked about it. But you know,
I
this
hope
not like
so,
this. Not
because
like
I've
this.
seen some things like where like if the house is burning and it's like not necessarily somebody's house, like the fire department's like, nah. You know what I mean? Like if it's just like an abandoned house and it's burning, they're like, oh yeah, just let that shit go.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Just like this pizza, just let it go.
Just let it go. Just let it go. Anyways, we love Detroit. Ben, thank you so much for being on our first guest and bringing your pizza expertise to.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was it was great taking this journey with you guys.
It was a good
Oh.
journey too. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
I feel like we've learned. You know, I feel like
We
I
learned
don't know what.
something about something.
All knowledge is power, they say. You know,
Yeah.
at least that's what it says at the beginning of Mortal Kombat. And so,
Yeah.
like, I'll remember that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I think the real testament is which comics will take this for free.
All of
Like,
them.
yeah, you think so? Yeah, I'm hoping at least. Like that would be pretty bad if they're like, no, I don't want to touch that.
If they
Like-
look at it and they don't eat it, that means we're all gonna die.
Yeah, if comics won't eat it, that's the true testament.
We couldn't see what was going on because we paid for it.
All right. Thanks for joining us this week. We will see you next week with more tasty treats and support fast food workers. Thank you very much.
Yes.